2,000 years ago, in the mythical age, the feared demon king Anos Voldigod makes a shocking contribution to history by sacrificing himself to save humanity. Fast forward to the present, it is known that Anos may be reincarnated as one of the new students who would be enrolling in the prestigious Demon King Academy this year, and rumor has it that Anos, the newly reincarnated Demon King, would reclaim his position as the Demon King. On the first day of the examination, as the new students walk into the school, one of the students, Misha, feels embarrassed as her dad cheers for her at the top of his voice. She gets bumped into and the letter she is holding falls on the floor. A boy picks it up and calls out the name on the letter, Misha Nikram, before handing it to her. She thanks him awkwardly and notices the boy's parents, who are also cheering for him. The boy introduces himself as Anos Voldigod, but they barely make it into the school before a boy of royal blood named Zeeps taunts them for coming to school with their parents, but they both ignore him until he attacks them. Anos Voldigod insults him, telling him his magic power is so feeble, and Zeeps threatens them with his magic powers, holding flames of fire in his palm. Anos lightly blows air with his mouth and Zeeps' fire goes off. He likens Zeeps' fire to a light from a matchstick, and Zeeps is angry and lashes out, but Anos asks him to stop and Zeeps finds himself unable to move. The other students are filled with awe at this display of power, but Anos walks off without a care in the world. During the first exam, the students are asked to duel with the rule that the loser fails while the winner passes. Anos is paired with Zeeps, and Zeeps gloats as he talks of how he would conquer him. But Anos demonstrates his incredible magical powers by easily overpowering his Zeeps. However, instead of admiration, he is met with skepticism and ridicule from his peers, who label him as a hybrid because he's not of royal heritage. He is also told of the rule that hybrids were not allowed to beat royals, but he pays them little regard. During the next exam, Anos meets Misha again. After the exam, he invites her to his house to celebrate getting in. At home, he announces to his parents that he passed. They are in awe and impressed. They revealed he was born only a month back and had a very rapid growth span. He introduced Misha to them, and they both immediately conclude he has brought home a wife. They all have dinner together. While Anos walked Misha home, she tells him the man that came with her to school is her guardian and not her parent. Anos asks her to be his comrade. They are ambushed along the way by Demon Lord Leorg, Zeeps' brother. Unbothered, Anos remains confident and once again makes a display of his incredible powers, easily taking down Leorg. After, he announces himself as Anos Voldigod, the true demon king of tyranny. Later on, we are shown a flashback of the past where Anos Voldigod gave up his life to bring peace to all realms with the help of hero Kanon. Before his death, he asks that if Kanon is reincarnated in 2,000 years, they should be friends. In the present day, on Anos' first day of class, he encounters Misha Nikran again, and he discovers that everyone thinks the founding demon king is Avos Dilhevia. Anos is stunned as he realizes that the wrong name has been passed down for thousands of years. Their homeroom teacher, who happens to be a demon of royal blood, walks in at that moment and introduces herself as Amelia Rudwell. She asks students to volunteer to be team leaders for an upcoming test, and Anos volunteers. However, his teacher refuses to make him team leader. She further explains that students in white uniforms who are popularly known as hybrids are not allowed to be team leaders. However, Anos insists that he would like to prove that hybrids are not inferior to royals, so his teacher agrees to this with the condition that if he fails the test, he would have to drop out of the school. During the team leader introductions, Anos discovers that Misha has a sister in the same class named Sasha. He is surprised that Misha is wearing the white hybrid uniform while Sasha wears the red uniform for royals, since they both have the same parents. At the end of the class, Misha is the only person on Anos' team, but Sasha walks up to them and taunts her sister. However, Anos defends Misha. Sasha challenges Anos with the demonic eye of destruction, but she is surprised when she realizes that he could do the same thing she can. He invites Sasha to join his team to get closer to her sister, and she refuses. Anos and Misha become well acquainted, and he learns that Misha is an outcast among the students. After school hours, Sasha meets up with Anos and Misha and challenges them to a duel for the team competition exam. However, whoever loses has to join the winning team. On the day of the team competition exam, the students compete to showcase their skills. Team Anos, which is Anos' team, and Team Sasha, which is Sasha's team, start their duel. Sasha has impressive magical powers, but it is nothing compared to Anos' powers, and despite the suspicions and bias against him, he effortlessly defeats his opponents using a variety of powerful spells. Sasha is left with no choice but to join Anos' team because of the contract that they had made. After the exams, Anos takes Sasha and Misha home to celebrate their win, and his parents were once again thrilled, concluding that he has brought home his second wife. They all had dinner together, and later that night, Anos walks Sasha and Misha home. He also notices that the girls have gotten a bit closer. When they arrive at home, Misha goes in first, but Sasha stayed back to discuss with Anos. She asks him if one's fate can be changed, and he assures her that it can be changed by destroying it. Before Anos leaves that night, Sasha kisses him and awkwardly tells him that it is a kiss between friends. Later on, Sasha recalls how she had settled her differences with her sister. Meanwhile, Anos continually gains the attention of his classmates due to his formidable powers, but others become even more determined to bring him down. After a while, Misha tells Anos that she doesn't know what to get her sister for her birthday, and he assures her that Misha would be okay with anything she gets her. Sasha walks into class right after Misha asks about her, and she seats next to them at the back of the class. Their homeroom teacher, Amelia, walks into the class and announces that they would be having a lecture from one of the 7 Elder Demon Emperors. Anos tells Sasha that he has never heard of them, but Sasha tells him the history of how they came to be. Anos finds the story odd, but he speaks no further on it. Amelia warns Anos to be on his best behavior during the lectures, and he assures her there is nothing to worry about. Later on, one of the demon lords is introduced to the class. His name is Ivis Necron, and Anos eventually discovers that Sasha and Misha are related to him. As Ivis walks into the class, Anos immediately stands up and greets him like an acquaintance. However, Ivis doesn't remember him. But even though Amelia asks to expel Anos immediately, Ivis asks her not to. Ivis also tells Anos he has lost his memories from 2,000 years ago. Anos puts his palm against Ivis's forehead to make him remember him. This shocks everyone in the class. The lecture begins, and the students are taught a Necton family's secret technique of magic. Anos also discovers that Misha and Sasha are direct descendants of Ivis. After lectures, Anos and Ivis briefly discuss, and Ivis tells Anos that his memories from 2,000 years ago has been erased, and someone called Elvos Dilhevia is passing himself as the Demon Lord. Students are asked to go into the Demon Palace for a test, and they are to retrieve magical items from the palace, but Anos is quite familiar with the palace since he has lived there in his past life. The trio embark on the quest to retrieve the Sword of Destruction from the lower levels of the castle, which is necessary to win. Anos suggests to Misha to take one of his items, the Phoenix Robe, for Sasha's birthday to enhance her flame magic. During the quest, Anos also discovers Sasha and Misha share the same birthday. After they find the robe and scepter, Sasha stabs Misha while Anos is not watching, and when Anos discovers her, she claims she was never their ally but was waiting for a chance to betray them. Anos claims she is lying since her demonic eyes should have activated under intense emotion, but they did not. Sasha flees with the robe and scepter, claiming she hates Misha. Anos revives Misha, and she reveals to him that she will disappear the moment she and Sasha turn 15 and that she is not supposed to exist. Later on, we're shown a flashback of the past where Ivis split Sasha into 2 personalities before she was born. After Ivis had gone through with this procedure, he revealed that when the twins turned 15, they would fuse into a single powerful demon, and this is how Misha came to be. Misha tells Anos that she wants to make up with Sasha even though she will soon cease to exist, and Anos tells her he will help her only on the condition that she lives like she believes tomorrow exists. They go after Sasha and catch up with her. Misha asks Sasha if she hates her, so Sasha challenges Anos to a duel and states that if he can control the magic in the circle she creates, she'll answer Misha's question. Anos agrees, and he easily overpowers Sasha. She then reveals she wants to save Misha. A flashback reveals some of Misha and Sasha's past. It is shown that for the last 15 years, Sasha has been grooming Misha to hate her for this very moment. She intends to give her life over Misha, but the only requirement of doing so is that Misha rejects her. But Misha refuses to. With this, the 2 girls get emotional, and they make amends. Anos reveals that if he sends them back in time, they can fuse with their unborn fetuses, so they will be born as true twin sisters. As they begin the process, they are interrupted by Ivis Necron, who stabs Anos through the heart. Anos heals up immediately and strikes Ivis, but the guardian god of time appears, Hugo Laraviez, and he won't allow Anos to meddle with the time. Instead, he heals Ivis's deathly wound and tasks him with annihilating Anos. Ivis now has the power to control time, which means that even Anos has to think on his feet a bit, and he ends up getting hurt by Ivis again. This, though, seems like nothing to Anos, who is quickly resurrected, prompting Ivis to stop time in response. Anos explains to Sasha and Misha that if they simply walk behind him, he'll deal with any injustices in their path starting now. They both say they believe in him and pledge themselves to him, so he sends Sasha and Misha to fuse with their unborn selves. He then kills Ivis and revives him. Anos returns all of his unaltered memories, revealing Ivis only betrayed him because his memories had been altered by someone working for Elvos Dilhevia, so he put him on the task of investigating the other Elder Demon Emperors in the hopes of figuring out who killed him and in hopes of finding Elvos Dilhevia. Sasha and Misha return now as true sisters. Despite having saved Misha and altering the past, Anos decides to turn in his scepter to get a perfect score on their test. He also gives Misha a ring from his collection to enhance her magic, along with the Phoenix robe he gave to Sasha. A flashback shows Anos being impressed by the exploits of one of his followers, Shin, so he grants him his wish to be resurrected, though with a condition. Since Shin isn't particularly adept with source magic, he would return without his skills and memories. This is in contrast to the hero Kanan, whose source magic is uniquely powerful. He is constantly resurrected and perhaps always will be. In the present, Amelia, the homeroom teacher, announces that a royal student famous for his sword skills is transferring into the academy. She also announces that the Scepter team Anos turned in is missing, so they will be scored 70 out of 100 in the meantime. Sasha is furious. She claims it's unfair, a hybrid. Misa Iliurl, who also agrees with Sasha, Anos, however, casually stands up and took the scepter out of another student, returns it to Amelia, and whispers to her that should have done a better job of stealing and hiding it. After the class, Misa informs Anos she is a Unitarian. Also that Melhais Baran, another elder demon emperor, is a Unitarian. She takes Anos, Sasha, and Misha to the building where they hold Unitarian meetings. Miss reveals she has a royal father and her mother is a spirit. Her father has never spoken to her, but he gave her a sword and a half. Miss and the rest of her Unitarian classmates ask to join Anos' team, and he decides to let them join his team if they prove themselves. The academy begins magic sword lessons where Anos and the transfer student, Leglan Zutli, are the only ones strong enough to wield magic swords. In class, they ask to join Anos' team, disregarding his royal status to Amelia's dismay. Anos refuses only the condition that Lei teams up with Misa and the rest of the Unitarians to challenge him in the next team exam duel. During the duel, Anand took on Lei while Misha and Sasha took on Misa and the Unitarians. Misha and Sasha defeated Misa and the Unitarians. Anos duels against Lei using just a tree branch while Lei vaguely remembers having dueled Anos before. Anos finally claims victory and suspects Lei is the reincarnation of someone from his former life. Lei promises to defeat Anos at their next duel. After the duel, Anos invites home Lei and Misa along with Sasha and Misha for dinner. There, he declares Lei and Misa his team members, and as always, his parents enthusiastically celebrate his victory. After dinner, Anos' mom reveals she almost lost him while she was pregnant with him. Misa and Lei are out getting air, and Lei thanks her for helping him out during the duel. She is surprised that he is treating her nicely, unlike other royals she knows. He also asks if she ever feels sick, because he heard that half-demon, half-spirit doesn't live long. He is surprised she is still agile after using spirit magic. At school, Amelia announces that 2 students have been chosen as competitors for the magic sword tournament, Lei and Anos. After class, Anos tells Lei he suspects there is some kind of ulterior motive. There's no way the royals want a hybrid to win over a royal. Misa comes around to tell Anos that Melhais Boran, who happens to be one of the 7 elder demon emperors, is around. Anos meets Melhais, he falls to his knees immediately and claims that while he believes that his memories were erased at some point, he is convinced Anos is the demon king of tyranny. He tells Anos what happened to him since Anos died 2,000 years back. Melhais pleads with Anos to drop out of the tournament, and Anos assures him he'll think about it. Anos gets home to find Misha has cooked him a meal with his mom's help. While they eat, Anos' mom reveals that Amelia had come by the house earlier to announce to his parents that he'll be participating in the tournament and the whole school would be rooting for him. To show his gratitude to Misha, Anos takes her on an outing the next day. They visit a magic model shop and they both go into the workshop where Misha demonstrates the making of a model. Anos also gives it a try. He creates a tiny model of the whole town with precise details. The shop owner is in awe and she pleads with him to sell it to her, but he refuses. After leaving the shop, Anos makes the model into a ring and wears it on Misha's finger. They visit a cat cafe and here Ivis comes in the disguise of a cat and tells Anos that someone above Melhais is actually in control of the Unitarians. On the day of the tournament, Ivis tells Anos some more information that he is yet to uncover. Later that day, Anos and Misha come across Lei at the front of the Log North Magic Hospital. Lei tells them he came to see his mother, but he also rejects Anos' offer to help heal her. Before the tournament, Ivis meets up with Anos again in the disguise of a cat. Ivis reports to Anos telling him Melhais has nothing to do with the tournament, and also that Lei's mother is critically ill and close to death. Anos' dad gives him a sword before the tournament. Anos easily defeats his first opponent, Krut, Amelia's brother, and angers Amelia. Lei also wins his match. Backstage, Anos and Misha watch from the sidelines as Lei dueled. They see that Lei is representing the Log North Magic Sword Association in a royalist outfit. They confront him backstage about this, and he claims they offered him enough money to live off for the rest of his life and the role of Demon Lord. He also says he can't be friends with him anymore and tells Anos he's going to kill him, which prompts a short confrontation in which Lei takes a swing at Anos and Anos puts his palm against Lei's chest and he realizes that there's some magical gear in Lei's body, a contractual magic ring designed to destroy his source under certain conditions. He's a hostage. Doing the royalists' bidding, they have some kind of leverage over him. After he wins his next match, Anos gives his mother and his student fan club and goes with Misa to visit Lei's mother, Sheila. He and Misa then head to the hospital. There they meet Lei's adoptive mother, Sheila, who has spirit disease. She reveals to Anos that Lei is being controlled by the royalists in exchange for treatment for her. She also explains a bit about spirits and her condition. Anos determines that he can't heal her without more knowledge, but Sheila is happy to die just so long as she can grant Lei the wish of fighting Anos to his full potential. Afterwards, Misa volunteers to help her, so Anos links Sheila and Misa's sources, which is risky, but Misa is willing since she believes in Anos and because she believes Lei should become embroiled in the fight between the Unitarians and the Royalists. Meanwhile, Isabella and the girls are jumped by Amelia, who tries to take custody of Anos' sword on the vague pretext of an official ruling, but she is denied. Annoyed at the rebuff, she gets physical, fighting against the fangirls. The girls end up completely battered. Anos' mom, Isabella, is very surprised by Amelia's behavior, but Amelia smugly explains that hybrids are just thieves eavesdropping on her classes. She's still fuming about Anos embarrassing her brother. She tries to finish Isabella off, but the hybrids intervene again, telling her to run, and ends up getting even more battered. They're resilient, but Amelia kills every one of them, eventually stalking Isabella until Anos suddenly appears and intervenes in the nick of time. When Anos arrives, he freezes Amelia in place and then heals all the girls. He asks all their names and they tell him, and he says he'll never forget them as he is indebted to them. He angrily teleports Amelia to an arena where he stabs and fatally wounds her. He insists he'll heal her only if she admits to him being the demon king of tyranny. She eventually does, but he kills her anyway. He then resurrects her as a hybrid to punish her. She does not realize this initially, and she immediately calls him a lowly hybrid. When she finds out she has been made a hybrid, she tries to kill herself, so he cursed her. No matter how many times she dies, she'll always be reborn a hybrid. She will forever be the thing she hates most. Either she changes her point of view, or she lives in eternal torment. Back at the hospital, Lei stops Misa to protect her life force. He then has a conversation with Sheila, where she tells him to live his life the way he wants to. Lei leaves before Anos returns. The next day, Anos and Lei are to duel each other in the finals. Before the duel commences, special rules are implemented that impact both Lei and Anos. A magical bracelet are clasped around both of their hands. If a person's bracelet gets destroyed, he loses. The bracelet is altered to drain both of their magical powers, but Lei's bracelet is just an accessory to give him the upper hand against Anos. Lei praises Anos for his ability to fight despite his magic being drained. However, Lei decides to fight on his terms. He slashes his shoulder with his sword, reaching his contract, and he goes all out on Anos. At the end of the duel, Lei cuts off Anos' arm with his sword, but he gets killed by Anos, who emerges victorious in the end. They are both teleported to another realm. There it is revealed that Melheis was the mastermind behind the tournament. Anos is challenged by Melheis and two other demon lords, Gaios Anzim and Idol Anzio. However, Lei takes out Gaios and Idol. When confronted, Melheis reveals he has Sheila and offers a trade. He'll treat Sheila only if Lei swears fealty to the Royalists. He refuses, and whole Anos distract Melheis, and Lei escapes the dimensional prison to save his mom. Melheis attacks Anos, but his magic is easily deflected by Anos. When Melheis notices Anos is starting to regain his power, he escapes into an absolute space from where he attacks Lei and Sheila. Anos shields them from the attacks. When Melheis is about to conquer them, Sheila transforms into her true form, which is a sword. Lei uses this sword to slash the absolute space. Anos then confronts a stunned Melheis. He overpowers him and frees him from his brainwashing. Returning to the arena, he asks Melheis to revive the two elders that were killed earlier. He sees a man wearing a mask in the shadows who he assumed to be Avos Dilhevia. The Makes Man, however, disappears before Anos could confront him. Anos is declared the winner of the tournament. He then announces that his sword helped him win, and it is infused with love by his father who made it for him. His dad is moved to tears. After reviving Lei, he also revives Sheila. She now looks more healthy and is completely healed. Afterwards, Sasha gives Anos a sword as a commemorative gift and kisses him on his cheek. 2,000 years ago, Anos tells Hirokanon that he wants to end the war. However, he is forced to injure Jirga during a confrontation. In the present, a new homeroom teacher, Menu Vistoriev, takes over Amelia's class. She announces that the students will have inter-academy classes in the human realm. Anos, Misha, Sasha, Lei, and Misa have a training match on the field. After practice, Anos meets with Melheis, and Melheis informs him that it seems Gaios and Idol have been possessed by someone suspected to be Avos Dilhevia. Afterward, Anos takes Lei to a place stashed with swords that all belong to him and asks him to pick one, and he picks a sword that used to belong to Anos' subordinate from years back. Anos has suspicions that Lei is the reincarnation of Hirobanon. Weeks later, Class 1 and Class 3 students are asked to travel to Gyrodite. Also, any student that doesn't get there in 10 days will not be eligible to take part in the class. They all head to Gyrodite for the inter-academy classes. Anos teleports himself, Lei, Misha, Sasha, and Misa to the city within seconds. Anos and Sasha explore the town on their way to the Hero Academy Arklaniska. At the gate, and she denies them entry, telling them outsiders aren't allowed in, they meet Eleanor Bianca, a third-year student. After they tell her they are from the Demon Academy, she escorts them inside the school. They visit a library and Eleanor hands them a book about Hero Kanon and Anon Voldigode. Sasha calls out the inaccuracy of Kanon's victory over the Demon King of Tyranny, but Anos stops her. Afterward, Eleanor tells them about Jirga Kanon and a elite class of reincarnated heroes. A boy meets them in the library, and he declares himself the reincarnation of the first heart of Hero Kanon. They also meet another student, Laos Kanon Jilfer, who claims to be Kanon's reincarnation, which Anos doubts. Laos attacks Anos with fury, but Anos easily knocks him off, defeating Laos. As Amos is about to leave, Eleanor tells him not to look for the reincarnation of Kanos, because Kanon was murdered 2,000 years ago by a human. On the 10th day, the third-year Demon Academy students made it to the Hero Academy, and they are surprised to find that Anos and the rest of him have been there since the first day they set out. Inside the Hero Academy, Revist Aini, a third-year student from Demon Academy, confronts Anos about how he made it to the Hero Academy so fast, and he tells him he does not recognize him as the reincarnated Demon King. On the first day of the inter-academy classes, a demonstration of recreation is held. The Hero Academy's representative, Ledriano, easily performs the task, while Revis struggles to do the same. Anos then reveals that the Hero Academy rigged the demonstration by removing the concealment end place on his tool. Later that night, Ivis comes around in his usual disguise and tells Anos some new information he uncovered during his investigation. Misha and Sasha interrupt, and with Anos, they head to a festival where they see Lei and Misa on a date, buying a shell necklace together. The next day, the fangirls fall on Evermiss's necklace, pestering her about who got it for her. Anos tells Misha, Sasha, and Lei the story behind shell necklaces. It is a symbol of love between two people. As the inter-academy exams commence at Lake Saime, when Anos offers to take the exam with his team, Revas also decides that he wants to do it instead. Their teacher, Menu, is confused, but eventually picks Revas and his team to represent the school in the exam. During the exam, Revas' team struggles against the Hero Academy students. They almost lose their lives. Anos reveals that the Hero Academy has cheated by having holy water mixed in with the lake water to weaken the demons. Men are very pissed, but Anos asks her to be calm. He rescues Revas' team. Ejecting their unconscious bodies into the water, he revert of a wound he sustained underwater. Anos challenges the Hero Academy students to another duel and uses a spell to evaporate the lake. For the next round of the inter-academy exams, Anos' team notices that the Hero Academy students have put up a barrier that is enhancing their power while it drains Anos and his team members' powers. Misha decides to build a castle in the center of the barrier. Anos teleports himself and Misha to the center and protects her while she builds the castle. Anos is then confronted by students of the Hero Academy, including another female student who is supposedly the reincarnation of Kanon named Zeshia Kanon Ajazika. They try to attack Misha and the castle she is building, but Anos easily deflects their attacks. After Misha completely builds the castle, Sasha and Lei take on and defeat Loz and Hain Kanon Iord, respectively. Afterward, Anos takes on Ledriano and Zeshia. They use a spell that increases their energy to empower them, and Anos counters this by asking the fan club to sing him a cheer song, which surprisingly increased his powers too. He can land a hit on Ledriano, taking him by surprise. Everyone begins to hear a mysterious voice telling the Hero Academy students to kill the demons. It is a brainwashing spell cast on them. Anos warns Zeshia not to release his spell, but she does it anyway to cause a source explosion. After gets a hold of Zeshia's source and hears Eleanor's voice calling for him, she asks Anos to head to the shrine. Misha is in the shrine when she runs into a furious Diego Kanon Ajazika, director of the Hero Academy. He attacks her, calling her a filthy demon. He stabs her repeatedly in a crazed daze. Animus appears and flings Diego across the hall into the wall. When he reveals Diego's true form, he is an animal. The students suddenly begin to attack the demon students, this time more violently than before. Animus kills Diego, and he and Misha meet Eleanor. And when she is asked who she is, she reveals that she is magic. Eleanor reveals she was created with taboo magic and further reveals that she is human magic and her source enabled her to create humans with powers. She asks Anos to free her from her bondage to save the students of the Hero Academy, and he does so. After Eleanor is freed from her captivity, the students immediately come back to their senses. Eleanor reveals the truth about her origin and the creation of the Hero Academy, the students, the owner of the voice that hypnotized the students, her existence, and how Kanon was killed. She reveals that this all happened because of Jirga's deep-rooted hate for the demon folks. Although he is long gone, she is a remnant of his memories. Her role is to create source clones. She calls them her children, people robbed of their lives to fuel hatred. Eleanor pleads with Anos to kill her because she thinks she deserves it, but just as Anos is about to grant Eleanor's wish, the female reincarnation of Hero Kanon, a girl named Zesha, appears and pleads with Anos to save her mother. Anos refuses to kill Eleanor. Instead, he offers to make all of Eleanor's children happy. However, they are confronted by a clone of Diego. Suddenly, 3 of the elder demon emperors show up with a mysterious figure who claims to be Avos Dilhevia. Avos taunts Anos, telling him he plans to change the world and kill the heroes as soon as Anos disappears. Anos rescues Eleanor and the other students, and they all leave the academy. A few days later, heroes declare war again, the demand throughout the city, and 3 of the 7 elder demon emperors and also Avos declare war against humans. Meanwhile, Anos has a meeting with the remaining elder demon emperors. There, his friends vow to help him as well. Misa tells Lei she is worried something might happen to him, so he takes half of her necklace and holds onto it, declaring his love for her. Later, Avos' teammates all take on Avos' soldiers, and Anos asks the elder demon emperors that are on his side to go after the rest of the elders, and decides to confront Avos by himself. When he gets to his castle, the 2 men attack each other, and Anos realizes it is Lei that is behind the mask. He is the reincarnation of Kanon.